I decided to do a video on Fairport Harbor pier fishing because I went there for the first time recently, and I researched on the internet Fairport Harbor pier fishing, and I couldn't find a whole lot on it at all. I found one thread from 2010 in print that gave me some pretty good facts, and that's all I had to go on. Needless to say, it didn't cover some things I wish it should have that I want to cover with you, the viewer, today, so you don't make the same mistakes I did. I drove an hour and 15 minutes. I had a great time. I caught fish, but I wish I would have known the following. There are two piers. There's not just one, there's two. The first one is called by the locals the Short Pier. It's actually the Fairport Harbor Pier. It's at 111 Water Street. There's free parking. There's sidewalks to access a long concrete pier that's wide enough to have fishermen on both sides. The riverside appeared to be muddy water, while the lakeside appeared to be clear water. All the fishermen were on the clear water side, so I fished the muddy side. When I first made this video, I really screwed up about where the second pier was, so I had to take the video down, add this addendum, and redo the whole video. The second pier is at Headlands Beach State Park, 9601 Headlands Road, Mentor, Ohio. So the first pier, 111 Water Street. The second pier, 9601 Headlands Road, Mentor, Ohio, inside Headland Beach State Park. Headlands Beach State Park. All this because I got an address wrong, because I don't know ever where I'm at in life, because without Google Maps or my girlfriend, I would just be lost. Thank God I at least know how to fish. The second thing I want to talk about in this video may seem completely obvious to some, but I didn't take a net. I don't own a fishing net. I own a fishing net for muskies. I fish for muskies from a boat, or I fish for bass, bluegill, and everything else from the shore. And I just do in-water releases from the shore, and in the muskie boat, my net is, there's just no way you're hiking a half a mile through sand with a net like that and you'd never need it for 5-6 pound catfish. I can't stress the importance of taking a net. I didn't realize that the first pier was 4 to 5 feet off the water, and the second pier was 10 feet at an angle on slippery rocks from the water. So no matter what, the most important thing you're going to want to take to fish in Fairport Harbor at either pier is a net with a fairly long handle. Maybe a telescoping handle, an extending handle. I'm already looking to go buy one because of this experience. I'd like to have a decent net with a telescoping handle. I'd like to have a fucking Ferrari too, but I don't know what that has to do with this video. Anyways, take a net. If you go to the first pier, you can take chairs, you can take a cooler. It's a short walk. There's flat surfaces you could roll a little cart or whatever on. But if you're hiking through a half a mile of sand to fish that other pier, the long pier, it's a little bit more challenging. You might want to really, really strip down your equipment-wise. That's it. But the most important thing you have to fish in this area is a net. The third and last thing, which is actually the most important thing, not remembering a net, that's not the most important thing. Not knowing there's two different piers, that's not the most important thing. What the most important thing is the fish. What did I catch? How was the fishing? Well, I went to the long pier first, but I didn't go all the way out to the light tower. There were a bunch of fishermen out there, and I'm kind of a loner guy. I like to be alone. I don't go fishing to socialize. So I found a spot about 200 yards from the actual light tower and fished into the wind, okay? There's a beach side, which I noticed would probably be great for carp. And had I had some more time, I would have probably carp fished the actual beach. It's the off season, there's no one there, and there's giant dead carp up there. I don't know how, but there was a bunch of dead carp. Some of them were like huge, 20 pounders. I fished into the wind off the rock wall side, and I caught three and landed two catfish in 25 minutes. In the first 5 to 7 minutes I was there, I had one rod baited up with shrimp on a slip rig with a 1/2 ounce sinker. I threw it off the break wall into the Lake Erie, that little bay there. You can see the short pier at an angle from where I was fishing. And while I was setting up my other rig, I had a pole. I look over and my pole's doing this, but I missed it. I just wasn't expecting to hook a fish or even get a bite that quick. It was in 5 to 7 minutes. 5 to 7 minutes after that, I had both rods out and I landed a 7 to 8 pound catfish. Got everything pulled in, rigged back up, set back out. 5 to 7 minutes later, I landed a 4 to 5 pound catfish, slightly smaller than the first one. At this point in time, I realized it's either an incredible catfish bite. I can stay up here and throw shrimp out and probably catch catfish all day long. But without a net on slippery rocks and 15-mile-an-hour winds blowing towards me, I had a hard time not only landing those fish, but doing in-water releases, which was my only choice because I didn't have a net. Anyways, I thought the fishing was great. So great that I can't wait to go back, much better prepared, and do some serious catfishing. Another thing I noticed that nobody was catfishing. Who the fuck is sending me all these messages? Ding, jing-a-ling, jing-a-ling. The catfishing was great. And if you're a catfisherman or a carp angler, I think this is the Valhalla because no one's fishing for them. Everybody wants perch. Everybody wants walleye. It's a giant perch walleye lake, and everybody's kind of snobby about it. I don't think they want to catch the catfish and the carp, which leaves redneck good old boys from Clinton, Ohio like me there to do it all. And I mean, there are some monsters in there. Like I said, I can't wait to go back to fish the beach side in the off season and to fish exactly where I fished before again, because 3 channels in 25 minutes, you're doing pretty good. So I thought the fishing was great. When I went to the short pier and fished the muddy side for 2.5 hours, I never even got one bite. Not one bite. I never saw one person catch a walleye, a perch. I never saw one other person reeling a single thing in. I have a feeling if I could have gone to the end of that pier, of the short pier, and fished straight off or into the clear water, in deeper water, I have a feeling I could have caught channel catfish also. Because again, I could see both spots from where I was at. When I was at the long pier, I could see the short pier at an angle this way. When I was on the short pier, I could see where I had just been at the long pier at an angle this way. But there's, a 1/2 mile of water in between. But it was intriguing to me that a 1/2 mile away, right there where I could see, I was popping catfish after catfish, one right after another. And right here, I'm sitting here 2.5 hours, I didn't even get one bite. Maybe the muddy water, maybe the water was shallower, maybe the catfish don't come in that far. Don't know. But I went out on the long pier and had like I said, I was only there 25 minutes, so imagine planning to fish for hours. Slip rig. That's about it. I only fished for catfish. I only used shrimp. So I have no idea what corn would have done for carp. I have no idea what a night crawler would have done for any other species of fish. I used shrimp and started popping channels right off. I mean, it was ding, ding, ding channels. I mean, it was great. It was great. But I just couldn't negotiate the slippery rock wall, the 15-mile-an-hour winds blowing right at me. I couldn't. It was too much, needless to say. Maybe with a net, it would still be challenging. You'd have to go down there, net your fish, climb back up to the top of this rock wall. Hopefully, you'd have a landing mat of some kind. Maybe if you have respect for fish, sportsmanlike conduct. I'm not judging anyone. I'm just saying you'd have to have a landing mat again, or you're throwing the fish in sand or on a rock, which it would never be in its natural environment. So that's what I'll take the next time, at least a wet towel to put the fish on, unless I'm going to keep it, if I decide to fillet some channels. To be honest with you, both the fish I caught and saw, I would not have kept. There's a very clean reservoir right by my house here where you can tell the difference between a Lake Erie channel catfish and a reservoir catfish. The Lake Erie catfish were pretty beat up, nasty looking. Didn't look like something I'd really want to eat, to be honest with you. But if you're just catching and releasing for fun, I had a hell of a 25 minutes.
You need me to pliers?
Yep.
Yes. I got
Are
him.
you taking a picture of this
I got
fish?
him. Yes, I am.